It's Thursday, and you know what that means. It's another edition of Ranch Riding, Rhinestones, and Rowels, and it's also Thirsty Thursday. Here's the ladies that created HY Virtual Ranch Show, Sherry and Heather. Take it away, girls.
Happy Thursday.
Heather.
Woo!
Cheers. Yes, cheers to a good Thirsty Thursday.
And today we're talking about something that I was very interested in, and that's what a ranch horse looks like. Because any of you that have followed the virtual shows know that my horse Smarty is a teeny tiny horse. I mean, he's like a grown-up My Little Pony. And I was very intimidated when I first saw some of the ranch riding, because a lot of the horses are like Sherry's horse Wrangler, big horses with long strides. And I almost thought I was out of place there. But I think that a lot of it is about gait. And today we're going to hear those stories about, you know, what you should do in your gaits, what a ranch horse looks like. And it's not always about size, is it, girls?
Size is not everything, Pam. And so, you know, a ranch horse had a job, and maybe it's not so much today in today's world with helicopters, four-wheelers, so on and so forth. But at one point in time, a horse was a cowboy's means of transportation. That's how he got from point A to point B and did a day's work. So what is a ranch horse? What constitutes a ranch horse? Is it size? Is it breeding? Is it whatever? Not really. It's heart, it's soul, it's the way it moves. It's basically what your pickup is. You know, we have a lot of different choices in what we buy as far as a pickup. Same thing with horses. It's what your preference is. But the objective of a ranch horse is one that gets from point A to point B and can do a day's work. So gaits have everything to do with it. We want a horse that's smooth to ride, that we can sit and ride that horse all day long. Yet we want a horse that can do a job, who can stop and turn and cut a cow and have those maneuvers, and a horse that we can open gates on. So we need to side pass, we need to cross logs and rough terrain. A horse that's looking where he's going, that's his job, not our job. So if we're out checking cattle, you know, our job as a cowboy, we're looking for the cows, the calves, the this cow calf, or whatever we're looking for. The horse's job is to watch the terrain. Is there a big hole in front of us? Is there logs in front of us? So he is our means of transportation. He's a tool. So again, we want something that's easy to ride, that we're not having to handle and manhandle and you know, and one that's smooth that we can ride all day, one that has a good handle, if you will, that can stop and turn and cut a cow, stop a cow. It's just one that can do a day's work and make our job as a cowboy easier. And that's what we're emulating in the show arena. So, you know, I hear some negative talk about on Facebook and different places that the ranch horse patterns are just becoming horsemanship patterns or whatever. But, you know, the bottom line is a ranch horse needs to travel straight, go forward. They need to cover ground covering. That doesn't mean quick, choppy strides. They need to be able to do maneuvers such as a stop, spin around, whether it be a 180, 360, whatever, a side pass. They need to be able to emulate those things, as well as crossing logs at a walk, trot, or a lope. So, you know, how do you emulate that in a show arena in a pattern? And so I always hate it and I cringe when people want to be negative about the patterns. I think that the associations have done the best they can do to emulate a ranch horse. And so that's what we're looking for. A horse easy to ride that can do a day's work, ground covering, and can do those maneuvers, stop, side pass, spin around.
And like what you were saying too, you know, they're not horsemanship patterns. Used to, there were just 5 patterns. Now AQHA has added 10 more, so there's 15 patterns, and some of those are tough. You've got to do the turnarounds. You've got to do the quick trot and turn, or the quick lope and turn. That's not easy to do. You've got to have a horse that handles. You've got to have a horse that pays attention to you, and you don't want one that's got the nose rolling on the ground. You know, a lot of reiners, and a lot of these horses come from reiners, and mine is, and I absolutely love him. I've never ridden anything so broke, but you don't want that nose dragging on the ground. They've got to be able to see, you know, what's coming up on them, don't you think?
At the same time, that's correct. But at the same time, you don't want their head straight up in the air. Really, where you want their neck is for it to be balanced. Whatever is balanced for the horse, where he can look forward, look at the terrain, see where he's going. So you don't want it too low, yet you don't want it too high. You want it somewhere in the middle where he himself is happy and balanced.
That sounds good. Yeah, it's good information, because there is a lot of question about that, and you see that on the forums, and you see people just get plumb mad on these asking questions, and it's people are asking questions because they want to know, and that's why we have our Ask Heather. We've got people that want to know information and not be ridiculed or made to feel silly because they've asked a question that they just really wanted a simple answer to.
Well, and many of us are novices, and I think that's what the great thing about these virtual horse shows is that it gives the novices a place to go and a place to learn without looking too stupid, because I'm one of those that asks a lot of questions, and I appreciate so much the feedback from both of you. And, you know, it kind of has helped me cut some corners, because if I had to learn all this stuff that you guys have got in your little brain all by myself, it would probably take a long, long time. But I think the greatest thing that I've learned from this and I've become from this is a better horsewoman, because I'm focused now when I ride. It's such a joy and a challenge every time. I don't just exercise my horse to get him in shape to rope. I exercise my horse with a purpose, and that is to make a clean transition, or to make sure that they're balanced, or to make sure that they're collected. And it has been the most fun year of my 60 plus years riding is the last year that I've ridden the ranch riding pattern with y'all.
And we've been so happy to have you be part of our group. I mean, you've really made this a whole lot more fun to do these shows, but everybody has to start somewhere. None of us were born knowing all of this information, and I'm tickled to be able to provide a smidgen of information, because I've learned it, and I've learned it the hard way. I've learned it with being yelled at over and over again, but she wasn't really yelling. She was just trying to make me understand, you're really doing it wrong. Can you not get it right? And then finally I did. So it's good. I like it.
So I want to touch base and kind of give an example on neck carriage, if you will. I'm going to use Pam's horse as an example. So whenever he lopes, his neck is a little above level. That's where he's comfortable. He's not being resistant and have his neck straight up in the air being resistant. And resistance can also be below the withers. So resistance is not only high, it can be low. That's just where her horse is comfortable. And he looks comfortable, and he looks comfortable to ride. And then you could take a horse like Cherry's or Amanda's. They like their neck level. That's where they're comfortable. We don't make them keep their neck there. Either way, we want them to be comfortable and non-resistant. So the horse needs to be wherever he's balanced. So a lot of times when you see a horse going around, and like I see it a lot in the reining, and I'm not trying to pick on the reining, but I think people can relate to it. It's why I'm bringing it up. Sometimes they get those small, slow circles so slow that the horse's neck never stays consistent. It's moving up, down, because he's too slow. So he can't find that balance. In the ranch horse classes, the horse is a means of transportation to get from point A to point B to do a day's work. So wherever his neck is, where it's balanced, where he's comfortable to do his job, that's where it needs to be, because that's where he looks the best. Again, he's not being dictated to completely. He's looking forward. He's our transportation. If there's logs, if there's rough terrain, if there's whatever, a gully, holes, a gopher hole, hog where hogs have been rooting, whatever, it's his job to find that, because we are looking for the cattle. We are looking to check the fence. So don't get so hung up on neck position, but focus more on, is my horse moving with lengthened stride? Is he comfortable to ride? Does he look comfortable to ride? Does he look easy to ride? These are the things that are pleasing to the eye. These are the things that will earn you credit, whether it is in the ranch riding, the ranch trail, or any of the versatility ranch classes. That's the basis of where the ranch horse comes from.
And I think it's going to be fun that every week we're going to touch on a different part of that, because I know myself, I want to learn a little bit more about the versatility ranch classes and things like that. We've got to talk about entries coming up. We've got to talk about the payout and some wonderful prizes. And we've got some questions from some of our followers for Ask Heather. So where do you guys want to go next?
I think we go to Ask Heather.
Okay, well, it fits right in. So you've got the questions, Sherry. There's a couple of questions. One is about the bridge that we see in some of the trail classes. And another one is a general question, which is about forgetting the pattern. So let's talk about the bridge. And you've got that question that one of our listeners or viewers wrote.
Yeah, this one came from Debbie, and she said, how can you score a plus on the bridge? She said, is it the speed that's important, or do you like for the horse to be looking down or where it's going? So is speed important with crossing the bridge, Heather, or would you rather the horse just be slow and easy?
So Debbie, I really like that question, and it really ties into what I was just talking about. You know, a ranch horse is our transportation. So again, we are not focused on where the terrain where we are riding, okay? We are focused on our job. So a credit earning bridge is a horse that is paying attention to the bridge. So that doesn't necessarily mean that his nose touches the bridge in an animated form or man-made form. A horse that has his ears forward, that obviously notices there's something in front of him that he needs to pick his feet up and walk across with an even pace. Okay, that doesn't mean slow, that doesn't mean fast. I want a horse that knows what he's doing, that understands that he's walking across an obstacle. This obstacle could be moving, it could be rocking, it could be whatever. So I want him to be alert about that. I want him to be sure-footed. Again, he is our tool, our means of transportation as we do a day's work. So
what is a plus? Her question is, how do you plus on that maneuver?
Right. And that's where I'm going. So that, you know, a horse that's obviously paying attention sees that there is an obstacle he's about to cross and is sure-footed, yet has even cadence as he crosses that obstacle. In other words, it's not interrupted. It's not start, stop. It's not blast through. I just want to get through it as quickly as I can. It's a horse that knows where he's placing his feet. He's obviously paying attention with his expression, his ears. He sees it, and he crosses that bridge safely. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, and that's great. And I can't wait to try when I get brave.
Well, I know.
So, our next question is from Joan. Talk a little bit about that. She asked a question that's a really good question. In fact, just yesterday, I was sharing my score sheets from our recent March to the Arch show with my husband, who was so confused when I said, one judge said this and one judge said that. And I was showing him pluses and minuses. And I explained to him, which was one of the first things that Heather told me, is that don't freak out if you forget a maneuver, because you can make it up on 11 more maneuvers. And so Joan had a really good question, and that is about forgetting the pattern.
That is a good question. And the thing about all the ranch classes, and it's pretty much standardized throughout all the associations, whether it be Stock Horse of Texas, AQHA, American Stock Horse Association, Paint Horse Association, they're all very standardized in that there is no penalty score 0. So if you omit a maneuver, do a maneuver incorrectly, you don't get a penalty score 0. You get an OP, which means off pattern, So they continue scoring you, and then you will be placed beneath those who did the pattern correctly. So if you have a class of 5 and everybody OP'd or off patterned, which could happen. I've seen it happen. I've judged shows where that's happened. Then the highest OP would be the winner. So if you go off pattern, the best thing to do is, again, try to just put that behind you, move forward, and just try to do better and be better than you were yesterday.
And that's the hardest thing to get through, because like the pattern that you posted that I did at Fort Worth during the March to the Arch, it's very obvious when we walk in and we trot in and I'm looking at my pattern, I know I'm fixing to turn left, I look left and Wrangler goes to the right. But instead of panicking and jerking him around, I just picked him up and I kept looking where I was going, and that made it where I just got a 0. I got a -1 by one of the judges, but I got 0 by the rest of the judges. But if I had let that dictate how the rest of my pattern was going to go, it would have been a disaster. I ended up with 78.5, 79.5 by one of the other judges because we forgot about it. But I can tell you, it took me years to be able to go in and realize one maneuver at a time and then just forget about it and go on to the next one. But when you get to that point, it feels so good because you come out of there thinking, oh my gosh, I'm the last person on the list now. But it's nice to see that you were able to pick up and go on and just do one maneuver at a time.
Well,
That's
and
right.
I should mention that you ended up reserve champion in that class out of more than a dozen people. So, that you can only control what you're doing. You can't control what everybody else does. And we don't know, usually you're so far out in the back, you don't get a chance to watch everybody. You don't know that everybody else didn't make exactly that same mistake. And I can see where and it's still going to take me a while to learn that. But man, amnesia would be a really good thing for this.
Well, and that's the good thing about horses and in general is they teach us life lessons. And this isn't only in our horse patterns or showing patterns, but it's in life. What happened yesterday is gone. We have to let that go. We have to look forward. And it's the same thing with our patterns. So we have like 12 maneuvers. Joan's question was a little different. It's if you go off pattern, which would be typically a 0, what do you do? And like I said, you just move forward. You forget about that maneuver, keep moving forward. You will still get a score. But even if you have a bad maneuver or you felt like it was a bad maneuver, oftentimes it feels worse than it actually is, because my customers come out of the show ring, I show them the video and they're like, oh, that looks better than it felt. We have a lot of nerves going on. We have a lot of anxiousness and we want to do good and we're trying to please ourselves. And that's who's most important, is pleasing ourselves, no one else. And we can get real disturbed out there, and you just have to let that go. That maneuver is gone. It's finished. The judge has moved on to the next maneuver. So don't let your off pattern or your bad maneuver reflect on the following maneuvers. Move forward, forget about it.
So yes, Joan, don't just run out of there. Don't turn around and run out of the arena because you messed up part of the pattern. Keep on going.
So everybody, think about your questions. I've already got a million questions for next week on my mind right now, but I'm not going to blurt them out because this is so much fun to learn and to share it with everybody. So think about your questions, post them tonight on the video or later in this week, and just ask Heather your questions, because she's the professional and she's been there, done that, and judged these things. And I think that's the greatest benefit of the virtual shows, is not only getting the criticism or critiquing from the other judges that they hire, but then if you pay the fee to have Heather kind of critique it as well. She is such a nitpicker. I'm telling you, she will tell you if your hand is this much too high over your horse's neck. And I'm serious about that. So if you really want to know where you can improve, ask Heather.
Absolutely. I think that's great.
I have one more question that came in, and that was, is it better to post or is it better to stand during the extended trot? And, that is an individual thing, and mainly it's how your horse is trained. So each of those are two different cues. So when you stand up, you see a lot of people that'll stand and throw their hand forward towards their horse's ears when they do the extended trot. As they do this, their legs are kicking the horse's rib cage as he trots. So they're just kicking, kicking, kicking. On the other opposite side of that is the posting, which, you know, to each his own. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Horses are trained differently. It all depends on how is your horse trained and where and how are you most comfortable to get the most extension from your horse, okay? For me personally, I like to post because I come from a background where I've ridden every discipline there is, including English. And so when you post, you squeeze your calves on that horse's belly and you make him lift his belly, which creates more impulsion or drive from behind. I feel like I get. Again, there are two different cues. One is your legs collapse against his belly and add pressure on the posting where he gets more impulsion to reach forward versus just kicking his sides. Both obviously work. I've seen it work on both ends of the spectrum. It depends on how are you most comfortable and how can you get the more lengthening of stride from your horse. So the judges don't care which way you do it. And I will say, if you do post, you need to strive to be better and learn to pick up the correct diagonal. Now, is that is not anywhere in the rules, but it is something that the judge does see, and he's very much aware of. And the correct diagonal will make for a pretty picture.
And we should actually probably talk about, for those that don't understand diagonals, we can talk about that in a later show, because that's a whole nother thing that they've got to absorb and think about when they're out there, which knee is going up. So now let's talk about entries. Entries are due on this weekend. Is it Saturday or Sunday that entries close?
Sunday, the 28th, I believe.
So entries are due Sunday and the videos are due Monday. And we had 2 inches of rain in Texas yesterday. And I have no excuse, because last weekend I practiced, had my logs all set up for the ranch riding pattern. But did I video? No, because I didn't feel like I was just perfect. So I might be doing it in mud this week, but I'm going to do it.
Well, it's just important to get those entries in, because the prizes, you know, I think sometimes it gets a little confusing on the payout. The payout is 60%, but the more entries we have, the deeper it'll pay. So what that means is, instead of just first and second, you know, we may pay first, second, third, and fourth. And it's going to depend on the entries. And we have that posted on there so you can look at it, and it shows a percentage that's paid for first all the way through 50 entries, if we can get 50 entries. And
well, I'm always happy when I end up with more money back in my PayPal than I put out of my PayPal. And so far it's good.
And hey, I'm just happy to get $1 back. I just want something back. You know, I have spent more money entering and losing than probably anybody on here, but it's just part of it. So I'm tickled because AQHA shows very rarely give you money. So when these people who've not been to the shows yet, there's very few shows that actually pay out in dollars. And that's one of the things we wanted to do, as well as the prizes. But we think people like the money. So we decided to do the payout with the 60%. So I think that's excellent. And the prizes, we're going to have year-end prizes this year. And so just today I got some pictures in from a lady.
Tell us about those. That's exciting. You were kind of telling me before we started this show tonight about that. It sounds very exciting.
She does a fabulous job. I was just wanting some pictures of my 2 dogs and then my horse, and to hang on my wall in my new bathroom. And so my friend Lance, it's one of his real good friends. He found her. Well, he told me about her, and he said, I don't know if she wants to do them or not. But anyway, I had a 16 by 20 done. She's still working on one, but right now I'm going to show you of Wrangler. It's just kind of a little headshot here. That's
oh my
Wrangler.
Gosh, that is beautiful.
And this is a pencil drawing. I mean, this is not professional. And then she did one of my French Mastiff, a doggy day Bordeaux of Duchess. So I'm gonna show you that one too. And then I asked her today if she would be interested.
That's
in
crazy
doing-
good.
Oh my
That
gosh,
is-
this one is better than the picture that I sent her. So I asked her,
It looks like a photograph. It's so
it
perfect.
does. It's better than the photograph that I sent her. But what I asked her was she would do an 11 by 14 for, our year-end awards. And what we're going to do is pick the people who have entered the most. And then we will have a drawing. So it's important that you get entered. I mean, you would spend probably $200, $300 on those particular pictures right there. So she's going to do an 11 by 14. It will be a picture of your choice. You can send her a picture of your horse, your dogs, whatever. And she's going to do an 11 by 14 for one of our year-end awards. So I am thrilled about that because they are fabulous.
And I noticed that Heather was wearing a fabulous Storm Cloud shirt, and they're one of our sponsors as well.
That's
Yeah.
right. Storm Cloud is one of our platinum sponsors, and this is the shirt that I like to show in. The sleeves are plenty long. They're fitted. They're made in America, which I think is very important, especially in today's world. The fabric is great, and the tails are long enough that they stay tucked in. So we really appreciate Nancy Cloud and Storm Cloud Clothing for being our platinum sponsor. She's been with us from inception and is still with us today. So what we do is we give away a $50 gift certificate, and it's $50 towards a shirt. Nancy has also started in the saddle pad line as well. So she's got a lot of really cool saddle pads out. And you can find her on her Facebook page, Storm Cloud Clothing. And she also has a website, stormcloudclothing.com.
And you feel
Good.
good.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just saying they feel good to wear. You don't feel like you're in a sack. I mean, they are very comfortable to wear.
Well, I know that you're sitting at the bar, Sherry, but before we get to our Thirsty Thursday drink, Heather, would you recap how to enter, how to upload your videos, how to pay for your entry fee? Because tick, 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 we're 3 days away from it. Entry's closing for March.
I will, Pam. So under our announcements, that's where you will find all the pertinent information. I know it's kind of hard to find, but it's the first thing that pops up on Facebook. It says announcements. To the right of that, it says see all, however many there are, 7 or 8 or whatever. Click on that. That'll have our future dates. That has our payout schedule. That has the link to the online entry. If you don't know, just message me. It's real simple. But I try to repost that online link periodically, as well as the PayPal. You can pay via PayPal or Venmo, whichever is most convenient. And again, our deadline for this coming up show is Saturday, midnight Central Standard Time for the entries. Sunday, midnight Central Standard Time. And then Monday is the deadline for the videos, Central Standard Time, midnight. And for the videos, if you're on your phone, you scroll up at the top, it says different things like about and whatever. Scroll left until you see albums. Click on albums, and then there's another folder that you click on that I think it says horse show or something. Click on that, and you'll go in and you'll see March show. And there's a lot of different folders, same pattern, same picture. Look for your class, whether it's novice, amateur, ranch riding. Click on that. You comment and paste your video in there, and it can be a YouTube link or it can just be from your phone posted on there, however is easiest for you. If you're on your computer, it will say media, not albums. I don't know why it's different, but it is. Same thing. Go in, find your class, click on comments, and put it in the comments.
And that's where I messed up last time. Well, I finally figured it out after I texted you, but I didn't realize that I needed to upload it into comments. And then it was simple. Now I got it. And I can't wait. And also I want to mention to everybody watching that the pattern this week is pretty simple. There's no flying lead changes. So if that's something that intimidates you, we got you on this one. It's very easy. You go walk, walk, walk over logs, lope, extended lope, trot, turn around, walk, trot, lope again, stop, back up and side pass. That's how easy it is.
And that's excellent for the green horses. So those of you that have green horses, it's a simple pattern. So, and they get progressively tougher as you go. So start now. Get those entries in.
Okay, I'm ready to drink. What do we got?
Hey,
Sure.
I am too.
Sharon, my glass
Yes.
is empty.
Huh?
Where's the bartender? My glass is empty.
Oh, well, let him fix you up right here.
There he
Woo!
is.
And this is one of my favorite drinks. I saw this on the tailgate party that Pam was hosting during the National Finals Rodeo. And it's called Ranch Water. And I had never heard of it before in my life. And then I asked Kobe, I said, well, do you make a ranch water? Because, man, I am addicted to that stuff. Because you don't get drunk quite so fast. So he said, yeah, I told him the ingredients. He said, I've got a few extra little things that I do. So I am going to let him whip up an excellent ranch water.
Well, first, take a look at his t-shirt. You know what he's serving when you look at his t-shirt. I got you, Kobe.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. In light of today, Mom told me that they were going to go over what an actual ranch horse was today. So we decided to do the ranch water. And my assistant here would love to,
My
Yes,
lovely
of course.
assistant.
my lovely assistant. All right.
I don't
First thing
even-
we're going to do is ice down the shaker.
God, y'all are getting fancy now. You got scoops and everything.
Oh, heck yeah. I got stuff going everywhere here.
You go ahead and ice down these glasses as well.
The Vanna White move. I got you.
And like she said, this is a drink I've been making a while for at my bar, and I wanted to do a little spin on it. So, like we did a couple weeks ago, we have our jalapenos marinated in some lime juice. They've been sitting there for about 20 minutes.
And that makes it. I'm telling you, the jalapenos.
What we're gonna do first is we got, like the shirt says, but first tequila.
But first,
So-
tequila.
But first, yeah.
So we're gonna use for each drink, it's gonna be 2 ounces of Código Reposado tequila.
That is
Oh,
great.
Código.
You
George
bet.
Wow.
George
I should
Strait,
have known George Strait would enter into this picture.
that's my favorite. Hey,
George can enter any picture I've got.
Hey, Tanya Tucker has a tequila out.
Well, I need to get
Also Cervantes.
Tucker tequila.
And next we're gonna add,
Cervantes. Excellent.
Next, we're gonna add a little Grand Gala or triple sec if you got it. That's gonna be 1 ounce for each drink.
And it was 2 ounces of the tequila, so 4 ounces went in there, maybe 5. We'll see later how many were in there.
There's no maybe 5 about it. There's 5. All right. Next, we're doing 1 ounce for each drink of our jalapeno infused lime juice.
And this is fresh lime juice, not that from the store.
Wow.
Freshly squeezed.
That makes my mouth water.
Mind you, it's going to be so good.
All right. Now we're gonna shake it up.
Shake, 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 shake.
A little shake dance.
So what did you rim these in?
These, I like to use a little like tahini or chili powder
Uh-huh.
with mixture with a kosher salt.
Ooh. That's just making that.
So when
go back
we were doing that on the tailgate party and they were using that orange or whatever stuff on our rims, it was horrible on our lip gloss. But here, we don't care what our lip gloss looks like.
No, because nobody can see it here.
All right, you're gonna fill the glasses about halfway with the mixture, and then to finish it off, you're gonna top it with a little Topo Chico.
Topo Chico.
That's
And
my
that's a very
favorite.
popular mineral water nowadays.
I love Topo Chico. There's so many
my
things
gosh.
you can do with it.
And I think you were the one who got me started on the Topo Chico. And then when I saw it on that tailgate party, I thought, man, that looks really good.
And we gotta have
A
our
little squeeze.
fresh lime
Well,
wheels.
since I don't have Vanna White and her lovely assistant with me, I just have a can of ranch water, but I did want to join you all today. So
We are so
I got
glad
mine
that you did.
already made.
I love
And
your.
mine-
So we
mine
want to
is
thank everybody
empty.
for
Mine
joining
is
us.
empty. I don't
What
have
do you got?
Cody to help me out.
You got to go fill your glass yourself.
There you
I
go.
know.
Yeah,
Here, Heather, hold your glass up.
Here's my empty glass.
She got it. All right. We want to thank
Cheers.
everybody for joining us. And I want to thank Kobe for coming and helping. I always want to thank Heather and Pam for doing what they do because it wouldn't be here without them. And I really just like drinking. So I'm up for the Thirsty Thursday. Thank you all for joining us. Cheers.
Get your entries
Cheers.
in.
Get your
Cheers.
entries in.
Have a good one, y'all.
Happy
Bye.
trails. Thank you guys.